I have a book. I have a sword. Kamen Rider? Hello and welcome, my sabery leaves. With Kamen Rider Saber now being over, it's time for my final review of this series. Not that I have done a halfway point or first impressions, because it was before I started YouTube. So, what do I think about Kamen Rider Saber? Not much. At first I really did enjoy it. I mean, it was swords and magic. Elemental Swordman? There's no way you can mess that up, I thought. Turns out, sadly, there is a way. It introduced way too many characters, way too fast. I don't even know the name of half of them, and I really don't care about most of them. The main character is okay, but nothing special, even though the show wanted him to be something very special, but I really don't get why. He gets all this stuff just because he's the main character, it seems. And that's not good. If you want to make the main character more special than all the others, do it in a way that makes sense, not in a way that says, he is the main character, so he is special. What is he, Harry Potter? That is a bad thought. No, please, don't do that. Well, there are some characters I liked. Like the Smith one, I forgot his name, sadly. And then we have a rider that is green, my favorite color. He uses twin swords. I love twin swords. And he is the worst piece of... I can't stand him. Ren is an awful character. I do not like him. It's so sad for me that he is the one who got that cool design and the cool weapons. Well, enough about the characters. They are mediocre at best. Some are likable, but that's basically it. So about the story. Yeah, it was not bad at first. The idea of this other world intertwining with ours through those magical books was quickly forgotten. I remember in the first episode they battled on top of a huge sword, and sure, it was really bad CGI. But still. And they never did that again. Just, no. And then they got mechas for one episode. And then the main character himself turned into a sword with a giant mecha. His sword was Excalibur, that legendary... forget it. It lasts for 2 episodes or so. They are so quick to forget the things they introduce. At one point, the evil ones used humans to create new Wonder Ride books. This was an awesome idea. Especially, the humans turned into the monsters. And only one of the characters, because the main character had to learn it, of course, because he is the main character, were the only ones who could heal them, who could get them out of there. And then they did it 3 times and dropped the idea. Why? Why did they drop the idea? That's stupid. That was a good idea. Focus on that. No, but instead, at the end, we get the fight against the Master of Logos, who is the master of the Sword of Logos, which is the basically company they all work for. And then they defeat him. Crushingly so. Next episode, they fight against him and defeat him. Crushingly so. But then, plot twist, He comes back in the next episode and gets defeated. Crushingly so. Isn't that fun? Yeah, let's throw the same end boss 3 times in a row at them without him getting any stronger. Sure, something else could happen. Like, maybe he would lose to them. Crushingly. And then the next end boss, because it wasn't over after that, well, the show clearly ran out of ideas a long time ago. We had Storius, who started to sound like this because he's now evil. More evil than before. I wanted to give that guy cough medicine so badly. It was so annoying hearing him. Why? Why did they do that? What did the directors think? And yes, the directors. This is never the fault of the actors. Don't blame actors for this shit. Don't. I can't stand this series. It started so good, and it has all those elements, pun intended, that I like. Elemental stuff, sword fighters. A lot of characters isn't a bad thing inherently. However, you shouldn't introduce them this fast. It's different for a show like Super Sentai where they are a team from the get-go. But here, we start out with 3 riders at most and then wait a little. You can go on to reach this amount of characters, but give us their backstory in pieces. Not, here's a character, next episode here's a character, and hey, we have some on sale as well. Do you want some characters? Do you want some characters? You will get characters. We will give you all the characters. Do you want to know about the characters? Nah. Who wants to know about the characters in their show they're watching? Characters aren't important, I guess. Like story. Story is also not important. In a story that wants to tell us stories are important. What? But there was one thing in the final episode, which wasn't the final episode, because there was an episode after the final episode, which was the true final episode, but it was called a special chapter. It was episode 47. They did something awesome, and at the same time, they kind of didn't. You see, there was a contest, you could say, for you, and yes, you, this was overseas as well, to send in a video to them where you talk about your favorite story. You saw in the episode that they used those stories of all those kids and adults and whoever sent it in, talking about that. They were talking about Momotaro, and then they overlaid them all, so you couldn't really get what they were talking about anymore. And so it was an overseas contest, and as I am following stuff to know news about Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, I never heard of that. I would have sent in a video, of course. But I may not be the only one who never heard of that. Because in the episode, guess what? How many foreigners did you see in those videos they choose for that episode? I give you a hint. It's less than this finger. Less. This. 0. If you still don't get what I mean, go seek some help. I really didn't want this to turn into a rant, but, well, as I kept going, thinking back on the show, I couldn't help it. I liked May though, she was cool. And she didn't become a writer. She would have earned that. And we got a conclusion for her, which is Rintaro, is it? Ren was the stupid guy. Rintaro fell in love with her. And he wanted to tell her. And he told her. And she, yeah, I love them all too. Nothing came out of it. They plan to make a movie next year for Kamen Rider Saber, which takes place 6 years after the show ended. Why didn't they show Rintaro and Mei getting together in that special chapter so you could show them having a baby or something in the movie? Of course, they could still do that. It's not off the table completely. Yes, but if that movie is written by the same guys that wrote this show, yeah, I will still watch it because I like to watch the entire series to get the whole picture. But that also means watching the shows and movies I don't enjoy as much, like Kamen Rider Decade, which was a steaming pile of garbage, which also didn't conclude anything. Saber was better in that regard. But this isn't a rant about Decade. I even forgot the name for a moment. Well, what can I say about Saber anything more than this? I just hope Kamen Rider Revice will be better. I know there are these things surrounding Revice with one of the actors, or rather the voice actors, being racist. Yay! Let's be happy. But to be honest, I saw the posts he made, and yes, blackfacing is bad. However, I can see over that. I can ignore that and still enjoy the show. Especially since it's only the voice actor. We won't see him himself. If you don't want to support the show because of that, that's fine. I understand. However, I still want to give it a chance. It could still be a good show. Love the art, hate the actor, I guess. Even though there are lines you should not cross with this. But in his case, and no, I'm not only defending him because he's a fellow German, because I don't care about that. Yeah, in this case, it was kind of not so bad. It was also some time ago, and face it, I did it, you did it as well. We all said stupid things in our past. Things we do not mean that way. Sure, it's kind of different going to the length of blackfacing yourself, but still, we did stupid things, and we shouldn't be measured by our past solely. We are more than our past. We are what we are now. Well, one thing more. As with that episode, with all those people talking about their favorite stories, I will also tell you my favorite story. It is a manga. A manga that's very dear to me. And that manga is called Rave the Groove Adventure. Or Rave Master in USA. What I love about that story is, first off, of course, the coolness factor of Haru, the main character, having a sword that can change into 10 different forms with different abilities, like his sword Explosion, which I think you can guess what that sword does, or Rune Save, which cuts things that aren't cuttable, but cannot cut things that are cuttable, is awesome. My favorite one is Blue Crimson, the dual dragon sword. It has a fire and an ice blade. And it's dual swording. I love that. But I just love this story. It encompasses everything I love about stories. My favorite kind of story is where a group of people gets together to travel through the world fighting off evil. Basically, I love JRPGs. I think you could guess that from that. Well, one moment I would point out, and that was excellent writing in my eyes. I kind of spoiled it already, though. And that is, in one chapter, one of the group Musica, who is a thief that can bend silver at will. He goes to an old lady who sees in her crystal ball, because she's a seer, that Haru will pierce right through Elia's heart. Elia is the female lead character here. She is a special character, as in she has that big power inside of her that could destroy the world if it breaks out. Well, Haru doesn't see that. And while Musica tries to get up to Haru, he fights against this guy called Zikard. And, well, he doesn't really defeat him, because at one moment in that fight, Elia's power goes out of control. And there's one way to stop it. If you kill her, the power will dissipate. And then it happens. Haru pierces her heart with his sword. However, we didn't know at this point that he had unlocked one new form of Ten Commandments, a sword, which is room safe. Remember, it cuts things that aren't cuttable, while being unable to cut things that are cuttable. And this is what he used to pierce Elia, meaning the sword could take control of Elia's power and seal it inside her while not hurting her. But as you read it, you expect it to be the typical shonen thing of, nah, that vision of the future was wrong, but it was actually right. We just didn't know the real outcome of it, which is rune safe. And that's genius. I know Mashima isn't really being known for genius. I know a lot of people don't like Fairy Tail, which is from the same author. But trust me, Rave is worth it and way better than Fairy Tail ever was. Also, try Eden Zero. It's pretty good. And with this video is over. So, slash your Ryu Shugekiha at the subscribe button and the little bell. That's important to keep updated on new videos. And Dragon Wonder on like. Even if you don't like Saber, please like my video at least. And also, maybe you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I will keep you updated whenever I post a new video on there. I hope you enjoyed this. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!